Hello, 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 hello. Wherever you happen to be located on this loving planet called Earth, I hope you are having a glorious day, even night, wherever you're located. Welcome to my channel on 3D Topics. As you can see, biggest day, I'm using Blender. But if you're using Maya, using 3ds Max, using Cinema 4D, using Houdini, on and on and on and on, I sincerely welcome you to stay because Blender is a curiosity in a 3D realm. So stay in line. My topics for the day deal with animation, or you can say keyframes. Animation or keyframes. I want to be able to animate two types of movements. My first movement is like the human movement, the lion movement, the hyena movement, the polar bear movement. Most land-based creatures, we move perpendicular to the ground. For the most part, humans, we don't rotate left to right, back, and front. For the most part, a lion will not rotate left or right, back, and front. So the first part is the easiest part. How to animate multiple figures that's perpendicular to the ground. Then for the last part, then I will animate numerous figures that are not land-based. For the most part, land-based creatures are like bees, locusts, gnats, and flies. Those creatures, when they're in their medium of choice, which is the air, they may rotate left or right. They may rotate back or forward, and then they still keep flying. Aquatic creatures, they may rotate like a dolphin, a whale, a shark. They may rotate left to right. They may tilt back and forward. So I need my second method for that, which is a little bit more harder. So let's jump right in to this video. Alright, I'm going to get rid of my cube, Harold the Cube. Goodbye, Harold. But I'm going to bring in your relative of Harold the Cube. I'm going to bring in an empty, and I'm going to bring in a cube. I'm going to bring in a cube. Now for the empty, since I'm dealing with 3D space, for me, for the most part, if I'm not doing something simple, I like to do with 3D looking empty. So I'm going to choose my cube, my 3D cube. There we go. And I have it in my asset browser now because I'm going to be using some of my assets later on. But now, I'm just going to go back because I'm going to be using a timeline. Let me put it back into the timeline because I need to add my keyframes. And you know that I'm going to use the... Well, I can use the graph editor, but I'm not going to use the graph editor that much. I'm just going to use the easiest one by default, the timeline. So let me move this. Let me go over here to for the new people. I'm going to click on the move icon. Move it. Just jack it all the way to the back. I put it right there where it's almost off screen. A third off screen. Then I'm going to go over here to where it says key in. And I'm going to choose the one called location rotation. I'm not going to rotate it yet, but that's for my second half. So I'm just choosing location and rotation for keying, so I don't have to keep hitting the I over and over and over, or hitting the I and choosing the other option. Yeah, I gotta hit I, but I won't have to keep choosing that option off the list. So I got that. So now I can just hit I, and it retains both informations. But I should just choose location because I'm not gonna rotate it, but I'm just doing a rotation for the next portion. Yeah, because if I choose rotation, then make the timeline look more complicated. I just hit my G key. Here's my G. I just slide it again. There it is. Then I hit I. You see, I don't gotta keep choosing that menu list anymore. Then last but not least, I put it to 250 or approximately 250. Good, I'm right there. Then I just drag it again to where it's about halfway off the screen. So it's done. Now we do our test to see if it's working. Okay, it's moving. And alright, good. So I let it go back to default mode. Now I'm gonna use my asset browser and bring in some of my simple meshes that I've made. Click over to asset browser. I want to bring in my praying mantis. I should have called it a mantis, but that's called the cube. Bring it in. It's humongous. So I'm gonna hit N. I'm gonna reduce the scale. Right here, say the dimensions. I reduce it to simple meters. I know it's nowhere near a meter. I'm just gonna call it 3 meters. 3 meters. I wish it all would just change uniformly. I'll call this what was my other one? It was 14, so the numbers can stay close. So that helped me. I'm gonna call it 3.5 meters. Then I'll call this 3 meters. Then I'll call this 2 meters. Hopefully it still look the same because I'm trying to keep my numbers. Yeah, it still look the same. I kept my numbers close. It's a lot smaller. I don't feel like dealing with decimal numbers, so I'm just gonna leave it right here. Then I'm just gonna rotate it on Z to face us. Rotate on Z so it can face us. Oh yeah, that's a good approximation. Then I'm just gonna slide it over. And I should take it back here with my empty. I'm gonna move it back. Well, I'm gonna make 3 copies of it. Shift D. Grab on a Y. Bring it over. Shift D. Grab on a Y and bring it to the middle. And then make them all. And I'm gonna just drag this one a little bit forward. And I'm gonna give each of them a little bit of different displacement right there. Oh my God! Before I do that, I better go up here to my click right here. Click on my modifier too. I'm gonna apply because I had to apply all. Now if I move it, see it's solid. I'm gonna apply all of them. Apply. I move it. Okay, solid. Click this one. Apply the modifier. And now it's solid. I want to give each of my praying mantis a different look. So I'm going to come down here to my texture. And if I go to the texture, I like to choose my shading mode. I like to put it on the shading view. I hope it's working. You know, when I was a beginner, I used to just have it in the default shading mode. Okay, good. So I can go to the shader. The shaders up there. I'm going to give each of them a different color. I'll make this a little bit more brownish. Oh my God. Okay, I know what I gotta do now. Let me hit Control Z. Alright, while I'm in here, I gotta give each of them their own unique material. So I click on this. New material. Right there. I'm click on this one. Give him his own new material. Right there. Hopefully I can change it brown. Yes, I can. Sort of brownish. I'm gonna change this one to a reddish brown if I can do that. A reddish brown. Each praying man has a different look, a different feel. Okay. Alright, so they all look different. Then I'm going to take them all. Then move them near my empty. So I can show my example of moving multiple objects for an animation. Because you know, in an animation, you may have several people in the animation and it moving in the same direction. That's what I mean. This technique only going to apply when your empties, when your animations, they moving in the same direction. But you know, you can give them different displacement in that direction. So, I can click on all. Let me all of them clicked it. Then I'm gonna click on my empty cube. Then I'm gonna hit Control P to parent it. So let me get my writing thing so people for the visual learner. I just to parent them to that empty, I hit right here Control P. So I might have to start using that screencast, but I don't mind writing Control P. That gave us our parenting. And as you notice, I highlighted all 3 of my praying mantises, and then I collected it. Then you know the last thing you must click on is the thing you want them to be parented to. So that's done. So let me erase this stuff. Let me click on my empty. Let me see if they will move. And you see, they moving. And it looks like they're being stretched out, but they're not, because you know my scene is on an angle. You see how the x-axis look is angled, but they all moving uniformly in different directions. Okay, so we got that. So if I run my animation, let me go back to the timeline. I'm gonna start it from the scratch. I move the timeline. They all moving. It don't look natural, but they all moving. Now, like I said, this is the simplest way of moving multiple objects. Now you can click on each. Now you can give each of them a little bit more uniqueness. I can click on my this one. I can move it. Well, I can make this my home position right there. Then when I get to 100, yeah, I gotta zoom out some. Let me zoom out. Yeah, like that. Zoom out. When I get to 100, I can move it all the way. I can make them go. I want to move it. I just want to keep it on that axis, on that plane. I want to keep it on the plane. I don't want to move nowhere in the NZ. I can move them out here. I can move them back. Then I hit I. Then when I get to 200, see, I gotta do this. Gotta mess around with it. When I get to 200, I can just move it right here. I'm gonna keep it on the X and Y. Then I make 200 move right there. Oh, there's my 200. I can click on my next one. I can click on my next one. I'm gonna, when it's at 0, at the home position, I can put it right there at my home position. Then I can move at 120. I want to make it move out here on the Y. I want to make it move out here a little bit. Then when it's at the end, I can grab it. I can get rid of that. I can move it way back here. I hit I again. Good. Then I move on my third one, my last one. Put it back to the home position. I may make its, well, I might make its home position right here. When it gets to 150, I can make it go back. Then I make him go back. So I make him go way to the back. You hit I. When it's at 200, I can make him come back up. Drag him back up. I hit I. Then was at 250. I can drag him. I can make him spread out some more. I hit I. All right, remember, this the easiest method of working with figures that's ground based, that don't rotate that much. All right, so I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna start it again. Play it. Let's see if they start moving. See, they moving. It looks more organic. But the parent empty is controlling it all. You see, they still moving around. Okay, so that's good. Let me zoom in a little bit more to make it look better. Can I zoom in some? And see, and that parent empty controlling it all. You know, because you know if I render it, the empty don't show. So if I made an animation, it looked like each of them moving on its own accord, but they really following that empty. Okay, so that's the first step. Now, let's get into my second method of dealing with animating. This time it's going to be dealing with the rotation part. Let me get rid of my little insects. Get rid of X. 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 I'm going to keep my same. Should I? Yeah, I'm gonna keep my same little figure right here, but now I'm gonna add some rotation to it. I'm gonna click the 60. I want to rotate it now. I'm just gonna rotate it on the Z and an X. Hit I. I'm gonna come here to the 160. I'm just gonna rotate it again on negative X, negative and negative Z, negative Z, negative X, and negative Y. I do that. I bring it near my 250. I rotate it on positive Y. I rotated Y or positive this time. I rotated positive X and Z and Z. I move that way. Then I hit I. Alright, let's see if it's working. I take it off. I put it back on a select box. Okay, so it's rotating. Then before I go on, I'm going to show you why the first method don't work with this. The first method will not work. I'm going to show you why right now. Let me bring up my asset browser again. Asset browser. I got three. I'm going to choose 3 bumblebees. Bumblebee 1. Huge. Let me reduce the size of this thing. And so it's at 9. I'll reduce it about 7. If I take about 7, it should be 2, 4, and okay, that looks good. I'll leave it like that. Oh, it looks weird, don't it? I gotta reduce it some more. Okay, so my little bumblebee looks nice. Alright, now I'm gonna click on this object. I'm gonna click back on my bumblebee. Oh, I gotta click on my object and the bumblebee. Then I'm gonna hit Shift S. Then I'm gonna say selection to active. Alright, it's there where I want it. I'm gonna take my bumblebee. I'm gonna zoom it in some more. I don't need this window anymore. I want to make it large so y'all can see it a little bit better. Okay. And I want to scale my bumblebee in a Y because it looks more like a Doug now. Scale Y. Okay, now it looks a little bit more compact. Rotate Z 90. Yeah, okay, I like that look. I'm going to grab Y, bring it out. Now I'm going to show you why the rotation don't work. And the rotation, to make it work right, it's going to be a little bit more effort to this. A little bit more effort. I'm going to parent it to my empty. I'm going to say Control P. Object. Now watch when I wanted to rotate just like the cube, but it's not going to rotate just like the cube. That's why we got to do a little bit more work, people. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. Alright. I'm going to rotate it now. I don't want it, see, look, I don't want it to rotate like that. I want it to be in its, I don't want Z to change. See, when I'm rotating it now, Z is changing. I want to keep it, the B and Z. Then I want it to rotate. Keep it in Z, then rotate it. Alright, so I'm gonna hit Alt P to get rid of the parenting. So Alt P, it removes parenting. Removes parenting. So keep that in mind for the new people out there. Control P makes a parent. Alt P removes the parent. Now I'm not doing this for the veteran people. I'm only doing it for the new people. So I hope you're clear on that, new people. Oh. Alright, so we got that out the way. So now we can move on. And when it's parenting, you will see that black line for the new people out there. I'm gonna zoom in some more so you can see that black line. I'm only doing this for the new people, not for the veterans, not for you veteran. For the new people, you should see a black line right here. A black line right here. That means it's parenting. I don't know why my annotate not working. But it don't matter. Hey, it don't matter. I want to get rid of that black line. So I'm going to click back on my little bumblebee. I'm going to hit Control P. I'm sorry. It's Alt P. Clear parenting. Now it's move. If I rotate this now, you see the bumblebee not moving. Okay. Like I said, it's going to take a little bit more work, but not a whole lot of work. Let's go back. We need the timeline now. We need the timeline. Graph, editor, dope sheet. You need it. But it's easy just to do with the timeline. All of my little timeline switches are colored yellow, so I can copy them. I'm going to click Control C, which we do a lot in different applications. Then I'm going to hit Control V to paste it. But it won't do it. It said no selected F curves to paste into. It won't do it. I don't know why. That might be a little glitch in Blender. So when you click on your bumblebee, you have to click on your bumblebee. Then you have to give it an initial. I'm going to say it again. You have to give it an initial keyframe. And before I move on, let me make sure I set everything. Yeah, to location and rotation. But I don't have to do all that anymore because I already got my cube rotated. So you have to give it an initial keyframe. So I'm just going to go up here to my little bumblebee and I hit I. It's hit. Now, if I hit Control V or right click, if I hit paste, zap is there. But you notice something happened, good people. I know why it happened. The bumblebee, when I play it, it's exactly where the empty was. But you see, it's rotating. It's rotating with that empty. Now this I basically accomplished what I wanted. But it only works well with one object. Remember, I said I want to have multiple entities rotating like this. So I have to click here, go here, and then we gotta do some work, people. I'm sorry, you gotta do some work. This is what you should do first. Hit the end. And then you should bring it to the object properties, and then you should watch that little screen right there. Watch and see what is changing. We wanna manipulate the things that's. Let me see. I stopped it. So we see X is changing. I want to get stuff that's not changing. You see that Y right there? The Y is not changing. Y didn't go out that much. Oh, there's my Y. Then I want to copy my Y. It don't look. Let me see. Can you all see it now? I want to bring it out some more. There. More. I want to make sure you can see that. Okay. Now you see it's definitely separate from that empty cube. So you got to watch what is. You got to play the animation. See the parts that's not changing. That's what you got to change. Now I could move Z too. I might change Z a little bit. I just want to do one. Nah, I just want to keep it simple. I'm just going to change one thing because I wanted to see if I can copy the Y and the Z to move it in 3D space, but I'll let you work on that to see if you can copy both of them. I'm just going to copy one thing. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to hit Control C. You got me? You see what I'm doing? Then, like I said, it's a little bit more work with this, people. I'm sorry. It's a little bit more work. Control C. Then I'm going to jump down to my next section. I can get rid of the end now. I can hit, oops, sorry. I can hit, come out here, hit in. I don't need that window or that panel. Then I'm going to move to my next one. So you got to do some work. Move to the 60. Right there. And you see the cube went back, the B went back inside. So I have to go over here to my Y. Hit Control V. And you see it move. That's what you got to do. I'm sorry you got to do that a lot of times. Several times. So you should go to each timeline reference. Click on it. Oh, it's off the screen. Oh, brother. Okay, I guess I should do it like that. Yeah, that looks more better, I guess. But you can't see it. Oh, I'll click right there. Go back to Y. Control V. Oh, but it's a mistake I made too. I'm going to go back to the very beginning. See? That's the mistake I made. But it's a simple error. Go back to Y, hit Control V, that, and then you hit I to lock it. Now let me see move and see if I go. I'm gonna move it. Okay. Let me go back to I. Okay, it's locked. So when you move it, you gotta hit that. You gotta hit the keyframe. You gotta hit I again. So let me move to 60. Control V. Where I'm at, I hit I, and the color should change. So it's locked right there. Click back on my next one, my next keyframe. And you know you don't got to be exactly close. You see it's moving again. Go back to Y, hit Control V. There. Then you hit I to make sure it's locked. Cause this going to be a big scene. Hit it there. There it is. Inside the empty cube. Go to Y. Control V. Hit I again. And for the last one, right here, then I hit Control V. Then I again. And that's it. And I hit I again. And that's that. Let's go back. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see it. And you see, when I play the animation, it should be in its own. See, it's in a different location, but it got the same rotation. It's not swirling around. It's not moving around. None of that. It got its own unique location. Now, you know I may make some simple mistakes, but you got the point. The B is separate primarily from the cube if I did everything right. You know I probably make simple mistakes, but hey, we human. Let me do it from this angle. So you see that. But it went back inside, but I forgot to do that keyframe. But for the most part, it's working. Now I'm gonna add one more B. I'm gonna hit Shift D. I'm gonna grab it over on a Y. Grab on a Y and put it right here. And I'm gonna get this be a different rotation. You see when I play my animation, it should not move. I don't think it should. Oh. What happened to it? Oh, it's right there. Oh, I know why. Because see, when you copy it, it gets that exact keyframe. See, you see at the bottom? You see the keyframes because I duplicated it. So I got the keyframes and everything. So I had to delete the keyframes. Yes, I had to delete the keyframes. Now when I play that animation, it should not move. Let me rotate it like I said earlier. I want to rotate it and give it a different orientation. Alright, so we see it got a different orientation. I want to have my screen big. If it move off, it move off. Yeah, I want to have, you know it's going to play, you know it's going to go off the screen, but I want y'all to see it clearly. So you see it's not moving. It's not moving. So the animation is running, but I don't care because you already saw it run before. I want to keep it large so you all can see it clearly. I'm not going to zoom out and zoom in no more. This little view good enough right here. All right, so now I want to make this object unique. I went here. I want to copy the keyframes, Control C. I want to go to my second B, hit Control V. But remember, it say no selected F curves. It won't work. We have to give it a seed value. So I will give it a seed value I. Oops, I give it an I. There's a C. I don't like that. I'm going to delete that because I only got one thing. I want to click back on my box, hit Control C, click back on my B. I gave it a seed value. Then I can hit Control V. There. And remember, the only reason is back inside that box because that was the initial point of when I first made it. So I'm going to play it a little bit again. I'm going to play it. And you see, but it's working though. But I want to take it out that box. It's working. Let it run. I let it come back. Zap. I want to see the values. Let me start from the beginning. The values that I already know was not moving. Y and Z. Those are things that have to be changed. Y and Z. I'm going to change my Y to over here. And I said I wanted to rotate it a little bit. I want him to face the B to face me. I rotate it a little bit right there. I want if it keep that rotation. So it won't even keep that rotation. It won't even keep. See, the keyframe is controlling it completely. So let's move it back on the Y. Rotate it. Rotate it on Z. And I have to change the rotation. I have to keyframe the rotation and everything. Well, I'm gonna give a keyframe to the Y. I'm gonna try something different. I'm just gonna hit a keyframe right here. They should put it right on top. Let me start it again and see what it look like. Yeah. So I don't even have to mess with these numbers over here. I just approximate where I want it to be at. So I'm gonna come down to right to 60. I'm approximate right there. I gotta move him back out. I gotta take it back out. Then I want to rotate it on Z. So you don't even have to really mess with those numbers, people. You just put it where you want to put it at the new position, and you just hit there. Now it may be a keyframe on top of a keyframe. I think that would happen. But I don't care. It really, when I hit the I in the 3D viewport, it's a keyframe on top of the keyframe. But the main thing, it should be close to the original keyframe. So let's see what happened. Okay, that didn't work out, so my idea didn't work. It's starting, so I have to stay right here with it, with the Y value. Let me copy this Y value, Control C, give it a keyframe, Let me come down to 60. Let me change this. Let me get this that keyframe again. Go over. It moved over. So I guess you have to mess with them numbers now. I guess you got to mess with them numbers. But you just mess around with it and see what happened. Okay, so it's in this location. You see that? You see that? And if I go to 120, I'm gonna click on 120. I'm gonna click right here. Control V. Hit I. I'm going to go over to where it says 160. Click on that. Go to the keyframe. Control V. Hit I. Then I'm going to do my last one. 250. Go up to the Y value. Control V. I. Let me zoom out and let's see how it look. Let me take it off here. Okay. Let's see how it look. I'm gonna rotate it a little bit more. So hopefully we can get more of the scenery. Alright, here we go. So you see both bees got the rotation of that box, but they're in different locations. So that's it, people. That's how you deal with multiple animations in the perpendicular plane. I can say the human work plane, like humans, dogs, cats. Human, dogs, cat, we don't rotate much. We twist and turn, but we don't rotate much. Then I showed you number 2, how to deal with animals or insectoids that rotate in the ocean, which they rotate. The ocean is basically almost like the air. And animals that are in the air, like birds, they can rotate in the air. Insects, locusts, bees, wasps, the air. So I hope you like the video, people. I'm sorry the second method for the rotation was a little more tedious than the first one was very easy. But I think for our scenes most of the time, we're going to be dealing with people walking on the ground, dogs on the ground, cats, and all that stuff. We're going to deal with them. We ain't going to be dealing with things rotating that much. And then I already know what to do with rotating things. Use the Boyd particles. I made a video on Boyd particles. But if you just want to keep your numbers simple, and you want to use different objects to be rotating, then I guess you would have to use this method. Because the Boyd particles, it basically using that same mesh over and over. This method can work if you have 2 completely different meshes and you want them to rotate the same. Thank you for stopping by. Like I said to my new people, my new family, don't stop, you push forward. You see, if you've been looking at my videos, I don't stop. I'm always thinking. My mind is always active. I grow. So new users, you keep pushing forward, you grow. Each day, new user, you will get stronger and stronger with Blender. Keep pushing forward. All of us, even the so-called 3D professionals, regardless of what package they're using, the 3D professional was at a time when they was a new beginner and they were struggling, and they say, I think I'm going to give up. But don't you give up. Because the good thing about being human is, the more we stay with it, we become better and better whatever we're doing. Keep pushing, keep striving, don't stop. Till the next time, Blender family, 3D family, peace.